Hi, my name is Caroline, and in this video I'll show you how to make this professional looking travel shoe bag. So this is the men's size and it cinches right up here with a grommet, and we use a shoelace. Looks very professional. This is the ladies' size. The technique is exactly the same, just depends what size fabric you cut it to. So you can cut it to really any size that suits you. I'm going to now take a minute to show you what I like about this bag. It is sewn all the way around. There's no unfinished edges because it is cinched with a grommet. So you'll need your grommet tools if you want to do this project. And we also use a shoelace. So this gives a very professional look to your shoe bag, and there are no unfinished edges, there's no holes, there's no flaps. So this is more of a professional looking travel shoe bag. The materials I used in this project were, I used my sewing machine, I used a serger. Now if you don't have a serger, you still can finish this project. You'll just have to make some modifications with your sewing machine. But the reason I use the serger is because it goes so much faster with the serger, and this is so much easier. If you're a beginner serger, this is a great project to get started with. I used my iron and ironing board. For this project, I got out my grommet kit, which consists of the bottom piece that you use, the two sides of your grommet, and then the grommet top, a hammer, and also the tool that you use to make a hole in your fabric. I also have a very small piece of interfacing here. This is the sew-on interfacing, and this just reinforces the fabric right at the grommet area. So I just have a small piece of this that I'll use in this project. Other materials I used in this project are, I have my scissors, of course. I have a marker. I marked off one spot, my ruler, and my shoelaces. I used, for the men's shoe bag, I used a 36-inch shoelace, and for the women's shoe bag, I used a 27-inch shoelace. For the women's shoe bag, I cut my fabric 21 inches by 19 inches. Now for the men's shoe bag, I cut my fabric 29 inches by 21 inches. Now really you can change this. The technique is exactly the same with whatever sizes you want to use. This just worked out well for me. In this step, I'm taking the side that is 21 inches in length. This is the top of my bag, and I'm going to simply serge off the edge. So this just finishes off the edge just with a really nice simple finish. And I just put it right on the edge of my fabric, so it just really just trims the fabric. There's really not a seam allowance here. Just trimming off the edge of the fabric. And that's it for the first step. In this step, we've taken our fabric, and this is the top edge. We know this is the top edge because we've finished off the top edge here. And now we're going to fold it in half, just so I can find the midpoint easily. And this is where I'm going to put my grommet in. Now honestly, you can put in your grommet anywhere you want to on your bag. I have just selected I'm going to do it in the middle just for simplicity's sake. I've put a little pin here just to mark it. So I'm going to zoom in now on my top of my fabric. This is the middle top of my fabric. I'm going to take my ruler and measure down 1.5 inches, and then take my marker and mark off that spot. Now I remove the pin, so then I take my grommet tool and I just punch a hole right where I just put down my mark. I also do the same thing with my interfacing, and I'm going to fold it in half just to make it twice as thick, and then I do the same thing. I'll just punch a hole right in the middle. Now I'm going to add the grommet. So this is my grommet kit right here. It consists of the base. Then I'm going to put the tall part of the grommet. This is also the front of the grommet onto the base. It fits perfectly. Now since that's the front, I'm going to lay down the front of my fabric onto this grommet here. So then the other side's going to face out. Then here's where I add my reinforcement here. And now you want the fabric to be tight around the grommet. You don't want it to be loose. So this is good. And then we add the back of the grommet down now, and here is the other side of my grommet kit, and we'll just hammer it down. And you should have your grommet in place now, about 1.5 inches down from the top of your fabric. Now that I've finished putting in my grommet, I'm going back to my serger. So I take my fabric, good sides facing together, and in this step I'll finish off the bottom and the sides. So I'm going to fold it in half, right sides facing together, and I'm going to take my serger here. Now I've set this up for 4 thread serging now. It's called the safety stitch. When I get this this bottom and the sides locked in, so I'm going to start by doing the bottom. I've lined up everything. You can pin this together if you want, but I am just going to hold it in place with my fingers while I finish the bottom here. So that is the bottom. See this nice, done this nice safety stitch right here. I'm gonna cut off the sides, the start and the end right here, and then turn this and finish off the side. And now I've finished the bottom and the side, and next we'll just finish off the top. So as you can see, in the last step we serged the bottom and the side of our bag. We have the right sides facing in, wrong sides facing out, as you can see by this grommet. I did trim around the grommet a little bit just to give myself a little more room here. And in this step, what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold down. I'm going to start at the seam here. This will be easy. We want to fold the seam to one side, and then we want to fold down, right side out. We want to fold down 1 inch. And then we'll press this in place. And we're going to do this, go all the way around our top of our bag with this. So in this step, we're just going to sew right along the bottom edge here of the top of our bag. And it's very important that we sew right on this edge right here, somewhere in the serging finishing, for 2 reasons. One is we'll be adding our drawstring to this, and number 2 is because we added this grommet that's going to be encased on the inside of the top drawstring of this bag, and we don't want to sew on the grommet. So we're just going to start sewing right here. I'm going to start sewing right here at the seam, and I'm just going to sew all the way around the top of our bag. So we're coming up to the grommet. Make sure I don't hit the grommet, or I'll break my needle. No problem there. We'll turn our bag outside in. So now we see the good side of our bag, and all that's left is to add our drawstring. So we have now finished sewing our bag. We've turned it good side out now, and so this is the last step, which is inserting our drawstring shoelace here. Now the trick about these shoelaces is that they need to be at least twice as long as the bag, so they need to go all the way around, and they need to have a little bit of excess at the end. And the great thing about these shoelaces is that they're already tied off at the end. So I'm just simply going to insert the finished edge of my shoelace into the grommet, and then fish it around, thread it around. I'm just going to go all the way around. Take me a few minutes to do this, and I'll pull it out at the other end. And I've gotten back to the front of my bag where the grommet is, and I'm just going to pull out. So I'm going to now tie my 2 ends together just so they don't accidentally go back in the grommet and I don't have to fish it back out again. And really, this is it. This is the end of the project here. Now, this is the finished bag right here. My name is Caroline, and thank you for watching.